I woke up feeling like my brain was clogged with cotton, the drugs still flowing through my veins, making everything slow and blurry. My body ached from the hernia surgery I'd had just a few days prior, a dull throb pounding in my belly with every breath. Charlotte, my wife, had been the one to push this camping trip on me. She'd told me the fresh air would do me good, that it would help me recuperate faster. I didn't get it. Charlotte wasn't the outdoorsy type. She'd always despised bugs, dirt, anything that wasn't clean and comfortable. But I was too doped up to fight, too sleepy to question her newfound enthusiasm. So I let her pack me into the car, my blanket, draped over my shoulders, and we went out to this secluded campsite she had picked. When we got there, the place was absolutely silent. No other campers, no voices, only the rustle of leaves and the smell of wet earth hanging heavily in the air. The trees loomed tall around us, their shadows stretching long and black across the ground. I fell into the foldable chair she'd set up for me, pulling the blanket tighter as the chill seeped in. Charlotte was hard at work unpacking, singing, to herself like this was some kind of picnic. It was odd. She was too cheerful, too kind, too everything. Normally, she'd be whining about the cold or the lack of Wi-Fi, but here she was, joyful, hustling around like she'd been waiting for this trip her whole life. It didn't sit well with me, but my head was too fuzzy to figure out why. I simply watched her, my eyes heavy, trying to ignore the unease creeping up my spine. Dinner was nothing spectacular, just some canned soup she'd heated up over a small stove. I barely tasted it, my stomach queasy from the surgery and the medication. After we ate, Charlotte came over, her hand laying softly on my shoulder. She looked down at me, that same bright grin that didn't fit the circumstances. "Why don't you relax for a minute?" she said quietly. "You must be exhausted." I couldn't argue with that. My whole body felt like it was sinking into the earth, the painkillers pulling me under like a tide. I nodded, mumbled something, and let my eyes close. The last thing I heard was her humming again, low and happy, as I drifted to sleep. I don't know how long I was out. Could have been hours, maybe less. But when I eventually came to, the world felt strange, too quiet, too empty. My mind was still hammering, yet the grogginess was disappearing, replaced by a keen, cold panic. I opened my eyes, blinking against the low light, and realized I was alone. The tent was gone. The stove, the bags, the car, everything we had brought was just gone. I sat up, groaning as my sutures strained, my heart hammering in my chest. The campsite was bare, like no one had ever been there. Charlotte was nowhere in sight. I yelled her name, my voice hoarse and weak, but it merely echoed back at me, smothered by the trees. Nothing. No answer. No sound. Only the wind shaking the branches. I pushed myself to my feet, my legs unsteady, and that's when I spotted it. A piece of paper, folded neatly, sitting on a tree stump a few feet away. It hadn't been there before, I was sure of it. My stomach twisted as I stumbled over, my blanket dragging in the soil. I grabbed the note with shaky hands and unfolded it. Her handwriting stared back at me. Sharp, familiar. "Find your own way home. Hope you are strong enough." That was it. No explanation. No apology. Just those cold, thoughtless words. I read it again. Then again, trying to make sense of it. Yet the truth hit me like a blow to the gut. Charlotte had abandoned me. She had planned this, sent me out here, weak and defenseless, and left me to fend for myself. My wife, the woman I trusted, the one I had built a life with, had walked away and left me to die. I stood there, the paper crumpling in my fist, my breath coming in short, painful gasps. The agony in my gut was nothing compared to the rage rising inside me. How could she do this? Why? My mind raced, but I didn't have time to figure it out. The sun was dipping lower, the shadows growing longer, and I was stuck out here with no food, no water, no phone, nothing. Just a blanket and a body that could barely move. I wanted to scream, to curse her name, but I couldn't waste the energy. Had to focus. I had to survive. She expected me to give up, to collapse out here and fade away, but I wasn't going to let her win that easily. I drew a long breath, cringing at the sting in my side, and forced myself to think. I had to get out of here, had to find a way back. Whatever game Charlotte was playing, I wasn't going to lose. Not like this. I let the letter fall into the dirt and started moving. One slow, excruciating step at a time. Panic hit me like a freight train the second I grasped what Charlotte had done. My chest clenched, every breath straining at the sutures in my gut, sending searing jolts of pain through me. I spun around, scanning the deserted campsite, hoping, praying I'd missed something, anything, but there was nothing. No tent, no bag, no car. My phone was gone too, presumably tucked away in her handbag as she drove off, leaving me here. I shouted her name, my voice trembling as it bounced off the trees. Charlotte. Silence. Only the rustle of leaves and the distant chirp of some bird that didn't care about my suffering. She was gone, and I was alone, sick, weak, stranded in the middle of nowhere. I tried to steady myself, but my legs wobbled like jelly. The surgery had taken more out of me than I'd realized, and Charlotte knew it. She had watched me shuffle around the house for days, agonizing with every step, barely able to lift a bottle of water, and yet she had dragged me out here, fed me some bullshit about fresh air, then abandoned me. The thought burned in my head. She didn't just leave me, she left me to die. I sank to my knees, the cold soil pressing against my palms. For a moment, I wanted to give up. My body was screaming at me to stop, to just lie down and let the exhaustion take over. But then, her note flashed in my memory. Hope you are strong enough. She didn't think I could do it. She wanted me to fail. That kindled a fire inside me, small at first, but growing. I wasn't going to let her be right. I forced myself up, gritting my teeth as the pain flared hotter, and took a wobbly step forward. Didn't know where I was headed. The wilderness stretched out in every direction, endless trees and darkness swallowing any hint of a trail. My eyesight was blurry at the edges, the drugs still messing with my mind. But I kept moving. One step. Then another. I commenced providing a variety of courses, including weekend survival camps, corporate team-building exercises, and outings for office employees. I quickly became in demand for large-scale retreats after my ability to demonstrate how to build fires without the use of a lighter went viral. After 5 years, I had established a stable and successful business, even receiving requests for endurance training from military personnel. A business with employees, a website, and a reputation, my identity was no longer unknown. Driving out to my courses, I was known as the guy who could get you through anything, despite the fact that my wife had dumped me. My truck was filled with supplies, and I felt a calm pride. I had gone from a man left for dead to a man in charge of my life, my work, and my future. The scars from the procedure had faded, mere faint lines on my skin, and the memory of Charlotte had vanished too. I didn't think about her anymore, didn't let her name enter my thoughts. She was gone. I felt like I'd left something behind in those woods, and now my days were filled with trip planning, teaching, and shaking hands with clients who praised me for showing them they were tougher than they believed. I had built a life where no one could touch me, where I'd never be that exposed again. I'd sit on my porch sometimes, coffee in hand, watching the sun rise over the woods. It was serene, steady, mine. I'd think about how far I'd come, how I'd turned her betrayal into fuel. She wanted me to fail, to disappear. But I did the opposite. I rose up. I built something out of nothing, and that was that, or so I persuaded myself. I assumed she was gone for good, out of my world, and I was okay with it. Until one morning, when my phone buzzed on the table, a number I didn't recognize flashed on the screen. I picked it up, expecting a client. And then I froze. Her voice, Charlotte. After 10 years, she had found me. 10 years had passed since that nightmare in the woods, and I wasn't the same man. The weak, trusting husband Charlotte had abandoned was long gone, replaced by someone stronger, sharper, in control. I had built a life I was proud of. My survival training business was thriving. My house was paid off. I had a routine that kept me grounded. Mornings started with coffee on the veranda, then I'd set out to run a course or film a video, teaching people how to confront the worst